So, welcome to our Tuesday Ascension workshop. Mary, I believe this might be your first Tuesday workshop. I could be wrong, but the Tuesday, the Ascension workshop is a little bit different than the meditation workshop. There's meditation involved, but what we're really doing here is, like I said, we're taking the lid off and we're really exploring higher energies or even like models of consciousness, models of existence from higher teachings from these enlightenment traditions. And then also we're taking these teachings from these enlightenment traditions and kind of crafting them, putting them in a way that, first of all, putting them into English, and second of all, putting them in a way that we can start incorporating them in our practice, where they're not just abstract, gee, that's really nice. The universe is higher dimensional. That's really nice. It's nice to know, but I want to put it in a way that we all can experience these things and start to embody them. And then there's no manual, like there's no user's manual after that. Once you start activating these forces, I can't tell you what's going to happen with you and in your life. I can only tell you how these forces have impacted me and how they work their way through me. And so, in a sense, certainly for the last 3 or 4 weeks, these Tuesday night workshops have been me willingly, like, I want to share this with you, all these experiences that I've started to have as we've started to work with these higher seventh and ninth dimensional powers, and I'll explain more in detail. We'll start again from the beginning, but I do want to share with you that I'm personally getting a tremendous amount of benefit. Everybody thanks me for doing it, but I'm really doing it. It's really helping me. And the more I share this, the more I kind of think through it, and then I share it here, to the best as I can in real time, live. I do my best to share it in a way that I think will make sense for you. But even when we X out and we're done, all of these things continue to percolate in my own experience. So we're done with this event, but the forces aren't done. They continue to percolate, and I want you to experience that yourself. So tonight I want to talk about I guess I want to talk about pulling your consciousness out of your physical body, pulling your consciousness out of your physical body. And let's do it. Let's start. I'll just start putting you in the kind of like a meditative state, like a guided meditation. But it's not going to be like a specific meditation with a beginning, middle, and an end. I just want to get us all in a relaxed state of mind, in control of our faculties, stress released. And then I'm going to try to take you on this journey and try to share with you or create for you an experience where you can separate, where you will experience being separate. Here's you, and here's the experience in your body. And what I found is I can pull myself out, but then within 30 seconds, I start humming a song in my head, whoop, and I go right back into it, and I lose that state, and then a little bit later I get back in that state. So I want to actually, by doing this meditation with you and for you, actually helps me stabilize in this state. And I want you to see not only are you pure consciousness, but you're also this life. And so instead of seeing them as two different things, in this meditation, the goal is to actually see them for what they are. They're the same thing. Your consciousness and you're expressing through this body as well in this life. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's pretty profound for me, and I hope it means something for you. So let's just get started right away with kind of a relaxing meditation. So relax if you can, if you're in a spot to close your eyes. Just let the tension and the stress leave your body. If you haven't meditated today, well, this counts. This will count certainly as one. I want you to completely relax, clear all that space out, any emotion or tension, any knots in your muscles, just release those. And in releasing any emotional tension or stress or worry or anything that's on your mind, you're getting a double benefit every time you just take a few breaths and relax. There's a double benefit. The first is it is these tense emotions that are gripping your body they're actually blocking the energy flow in your body. They're blocking the blood flow. They're blocking the chi and the prana from reaching all the cells, all the organs, all the joints in your body. So simply by learning over time to become a more relaxed version of yourself, a more regulated version of yourself, a less dense version, a clearer version of yourself, it allows the energy to flow. So it's right off the bat, it's a health play. You'll get healthier because the energy is going to start to flow. You'll also start to learn how to move your consciousness, your conscious awareness to start to feel and experience your energy body. So the minute you start to let go, if you feel any tension in your body, this is a good thing. I want you to let it go, and the minute you release that tension, you become aware of the energetic flow, your energetic body, so to speak. And your energetic body is flowing through you, flowing through your chakra system, flowing out to every part of your body. It's flowing around your body. I want you to realize this has always been the case. This energy body has always been here, but we just don't pay attention to it because we're not aware of it. But this body has always been here. And I want you to experience that not only is the energy through and around your body, you're also part of a much larger energetic grid. The earth itself is an energetic grid, or is the center of an energetic grid, and you're clearly part of that. Every living thing on this planet, well, everything, living or not, I think everything's alive. Every living thing on this planet is part of the energy grid, and you're part of the energy grid. So your job is to maximize your energy flow so you become a strong element in that web of energy. You're always connected to it. We're all connected energetically to each other. We're all connected energetically to everything that exists in the universe. We all have this energetic connection. And by releasing and relaxing, you're allowing this energy body to flourish, to become fully aware of itself, and to start to flow through your body. So I'm just going to take my time and just weave through some really nice experiences, and then we'll spend a little time on this energy body, but after this, I want to go to higher awareness, higher dimensions, and make a couple of points when we get up there. So what I'd like you to do is, with your eyes closed, I want you to realize that even with your eyes closed, you may also be projecting outward. In Taoism, this particular technique was called reversing the light. It's a very subtle shift, but I want you to reverse your awareness from outside of your body to inside your own being. And even if all you see is darkness, that's okay. It doesn't matter. This is called your inner sight, and it's something that you can develop over time. I mean, the great yogis of the past were able to explore their organs, their blood vessels, their energy channels, all by using inner sight. So there's a lot, a lot more there than we can see at this point, but we're just beginning. We're just activating our inner sight. And the first thing and the most obvious thing you'll notice is your diaphragm. That's a pump that never stops. I want you to observe your diaphragm without interfering with it. And just observe how when it relaxes, the air gets pushed out of the lungs. When it contracts and when it expands and pushes down, air is drawn in. When it relaxes, it goes back up underneath the ribs, and the diaphragm pushes the air out of the lungs. And then it expands in a circular way, pushing down and out. That draws air into the lungs. And while we're here looking at the diaphragm, I also want you to know your diaphragm has a digestive purpose. That relaxed diaphragmatic breathing is also massaging your stomach and your intestines, assisting with your digestion. It also creates a vacuum in other parts of your body where liquid, what's the right word? Fluid, bodily fluids, blood and lymph and all that is like drawn in and out. So it's almost like if you imagine at the very, very edge of the ocean, where you go out in the ocean, you see little tiny little pieces of seaweed, and you see how the gentle, the very last bit of the push out, kind of slowly, and then it comes in, and those little pieces of seaweed are slowly going in and out. Your diaphragm also creates a vacuum in other parts of your body. So the fluid, very, very gently, it creates a fluid a pressure increase and a pressure decrease. And it's very, very healthy. It's not only enabling you to breathe, it's also assisting with your digestion, and it also creates a vacuum and a pump for the fluids and the lymph throughout your body. It's really important that you connect with your diaphragm. Now I want to go just one step further, and I want you to take actual control of your diaphragm. And I want you to slow your rate of breathing to about 3 breaths per minute. And when your diaphragm expands and opens up, I want it to be really slow, like a millimeter at a time. Don't rush it. Don't go herky jerky. Just let it really go smooth. Feel your diaphragm opening like a frisbee. The diaphragm is round. It's connected to your spine, the lumbar spine. It's connected to your sternum. It's connected to the lowest points on your ribs. It really almost like makes a circle, and it hides under the ribs when it's relaxed. And when it begins to expand, it can push out the spine, push out the ribs, push out the sternum, and that's how you can get in touch with not just the diaphragm, but all the parts of your body that the diaphragm is also moving. So just sit in that slow, relaxed, conscious diaphragmatic control for about a minute. Put your inner sight on the diaphragm and particularly on the inhale. No gentle, no forcing, but I really want you to push your diaphragm into a big circle like a frisbee inside your ribs and your back muscles and your side muscles I want you to push it out like a frisbee. Feel it expand, and then when you're done, you can hold it at the top of the breath for 2 or 3 heartbeats, and then very slowly let it contract and relax, and very slowly the air is pushed out of your lungs. Make sure you're keeping your inner sight focused on the inside. Deepen that focus and attention on the inside. Don't allow yourself to project outward. Give your consciousness a job to watch the diaphragm and control the diaphragm, and that's all you should be thinking about. This is a state of awareness and diaphragmatic breathing that you can slip into anytime throughout the day. I tend to do this, I tie this to certain activities. So, for example, every time I fill up my water bottle on the fridge, takes about 40 seconds. I just relax, straighten out my posture, and just relax my diaphragm, and that's maybe 3 or 4 times a day. I have this thing where my hands are on the steering wheel, for particularly if I'm at a red light, driving and I'm at a red light. I take a minute to diaphragmatically breathe. So this is something you can remind yourself to do. Attach it to different parts of your day so you remind yourself several times. Mindful breathing, conscious control of your diaphragm. All right. We have been discussing in this space for the last several weeks about the dimensional model of the universe. So just like you see how your diaphragm is a pump, a never-ending pump. It just breathes in, breathes out, expands, contracts, expands, contracts. You can't really stop it. It's just always going to do that. The universe itself is a pump. It operates in the exact same way. It draws in to itself, recreates itself, a new universe is created, and then it projects outward. And then when it's done projecting, it ends and then it draws itself back in, just very exactly like the waves in the ocean. Big, powerful wave comes crashing in, very powerful and forceful, and then it drops, it expands, and then when it's done, the water starts drawing in. And the cool part about that drawing in cycle is that it's just as powerful as the out cycle. It's just as powerful. It draws in like a vacuum. I'm sure you've felt that on your feet in the shallow water. It draws back in, builds up again, and crashes down. And that's the universe operates in the exact same way. According to Vedic teachings, the universe is created and drawn in and created and drawn in millions of times a second, far beyond anything we would be able to conceive or perceive physically or using any of our sentences, using any of our senses. Most people don't realize this, but the old black and white movies where you could actually see the frames, you could see that it was a series of still frames. That was 16 frames per second. And your eyes could see, oh, I see, it's 16, it's changing. I could see these little effects, like I can see it stand still for a zillionth of a second or a sixteenth of a second. Well, in order to get rid of that, modern movies, I don't know, what do you think the number is? It's actually only 24 frames per second. So if you just increase that frame rate by a little bit, your eyes no longer see it. You're watching TV, you're watching a movie, it's actually happening. It's continuous motion. The universe is doing this millions of times, maybe billions of times, maybe trillions of times a second. It's not for me to decide. We couldn't measure it anyway. No matter what, no matter which of those answers it is, science wouldn't be able to measure it. Effectively infinitely fast. But to the universe, each projection is like a zillion years. And then it draws in, it takes its time drawing in, and then the universe is recreated. We'll talk a little bit more about this. And then it projects outward again. And all of this happens in our time, a million times a second. But each cycle of the universe, to the universe, it's taking its time. It's just recreating itself, learning, drawing in, learning what it learns, recreating, trying to do a little better, learning something, recreating over and over and over again. You are a pump. And what's happening is all of these energies are flowing through you. So your objective is to clear your physical space, to clear your emotional body, which allows your energy to flow, clear all of this space in your body to learn how to allow the universal flow of energy to flow through you. You want to be aligned with this pump. You want to know that you are a pump and all you're doing is allowing these forces to flow through you. So let's do our ascension meditation. Again, I'm going to take my time and we'll just spend time on all of these things tonight. You've been through the meditation where we're in an airplane, we rise through the clouds, we pop out of the top of the clouds. That's the fourth dimension. That's a dimension of consciousness where if you look down below, the clouds represent mind. The third dimension is a vibratory dimension, the lowest vibration. That's the dimension of mind. This fourth dimension is no longer mind, but it's also not yet light. The fifth dimension is light. So the fourth dimension is this, I would say, imaginary perch point where your consciousness can come to rest. And you can use it for two things. Number one, you can use it to map out your journey to the higher dimensions. Or more practically, you can use it to look down on your life and start to make new plans, plant new seeds, make new decisions from a higher perspective about your life. Because most of the time, we're making decisions about our life while we're in the flow of life. We're trying to improve our third dimensional circumstances through by observing third dimensional circumstances. It's impossible to get balanced inside the projection, inside the illusion. So it's difficult to get balanced. When you rise yourself above, you realize that your body is just an avatar. It has no mind of its own. It's literally just a physical body and it's waiting for you to give it instructions. If you can look down from the fourth dimension onto your body now, it would just be sitting in the chair and it will not move until you tell it to move. Every time I feel that, it's like, that's so amazing. The body will, it seems like it's always moving around, has to move, always, going to the next thing, the next thing. That's not your body. That's your subconscious. That's your autopilot talking. Your body itself has no agenda. And so now we can make that body healthier. We can improve the way it communicates with people. We can teach it whatever we want. So from this fourth dimension, you're not only above mind, but you're also starting to understand that the universe operates in much longer rhythms and cycles. And from here, you can start to look at your life and plan out your life in alignment with much longer rhythms and cycles. Nothing immediate, you can make change immediately, but it's going to take root and it's going to grow over time. So we learn to be much more patient here. In the fourth dimension, there's blue skies all around. Nobody's playing defense. Nobody's going to stop you from being healthy. Nobody's going to stop you from being a better version of yourself. No one's going to stop you from being a better parent or whatever it is you want to change about yourself. No one will stop you. You're in complete control. You have all the power in the world to change anything about yourself. And this fourth dimension, I'm going to share this with you because when we get to the higher dimensions, we're going to do the same thing, but from a higher point of view. The fourth dimension is very much like hypnosis, except all of us are awake. You're aware, your eyes are closed, but you're fully awake. And your consciousness is now separate from the body. You see that the body doesn't move on its own. It wouldn't do anything unless you tell it to do something. And of course, since we don't give it instructions, it just responds to the instructions we gave it when we were 3 and 4 and 5 years old. And it just carries out those patterns over and over and over again. Now we're able to give it new instructions. But a hypnotist, now in hypnotism, you're asleep or unconscious or you're just, not there. You're not aware of what's happening. Here, you're completely aware. But what a hypnotist will do is once you're unconscious, he'll pull your consciousness out of your body and start moving you to other possible timelines. You're no longer connected to that body. Now the hypnotist says you are, a great athlete from the Greek Olympics. Whatever the hypnotist tells you, you become that version of that person. You become athletic, you become strong, you become all the things that you think that this hypnotist is suggesting you should be. You take on the attributes of somebody else. Think about that. You take on the attributes of somebody else simply by suggestion because your consciousness, now all of a sudden your actual body starts to be different. Now the hypnotist says, all right, forget that. I'm going to pull you out again from your consciousness. I'm going to take you to another reality. And in this reality, you're a dog. Bark like a dog. And you'll see people on stage, they don't do this anymore, it's unethical, but you'll see people barking like a dog. Their whole body becomes a dog. Their consciousness is directing the body. And in absence of their own personal consciousness, they're using the voice of the hypnotist. So what we're doing is we're taking your consciousness out of your body and not moving you to a different timeline, be a different person. We're going to take your consciousness out of your body and continue to push it up to higher and higher and higher levels so that you can become fifth dimensional consciousness, sixth dimensional consciousness, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth. You can start to not only understand these things, but actually experience them. So in a sense, although you're completely awake, I'm the voice and I'm going to draw you to higher levels of consciousness, which are clearly, obviously possible. Certainly the fourth dimension is possible. So let's do a journey through the fifth, and then we'll go to the sixth and the seventh. We'll stop at the seventh tonight, but I want to share with you a new idea and a new concept when we get there. So we're in the fourth dimension, blue skies all around, but there's this big, beautiful sun, this light that's over our head. That's the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is a dimension of light. And as you ascend, and as this light gets closer, understand that this light is the whole light of the whole universe. It represents the light of the whole universe. And as you ascend and as this light hits the top of your energy field, I want this light of the universe to percolate and pour itself into your being. I want you to absorb the light of the universe. All the gaps and the spaces are now filled with this beautiful light of the whole universe. The light of the universe is now inside you. And I want you to feel that expansion. And I want you now to realize that your skin is no longer a boundary. The light of the universe is as wide as the sky. as wide as the universe, and it's all within you. You are the whole thing. You encompass the whole thing. And our job individually is to allow this light to absorb and anchor in our bodies, to anchor this higher light in our bodies. And the only way we can anchor this light is by clearing out the density. So, all the work that we're doing, all these meditations that we do every day, everything that we do is designed to clear space so that this light can fully anchor in your being. And now realize there is no physical limitation. You are the whole expansion of the sky. You are as wide as the universe. And as this light is glowing and circulating and living inside your being, I want you now to link arms with all the people that are here now. And I want you to feel that the moment that you link arms with them, your light gets 1,000 times brighter. And as a little small group here, each of our lights is growing brighter and brighter, more and more intense. And so together, we're actually able to increase the light that we can anchor together. I want you to also know there are hundreds of millions of people who are not here tonight who are also good people, honest people, caring people, good parents, ethical people, empathetic people. I want you to link arms with all of them, 100 million of us, and see how the light gets stronger and more powerful and brighter. And each of us is a conduit for this light. So we're trying to create a collective light, but we can only do that when each one of us becomes clearer. And so we can add more light to this collective group. Now I want you to imagine you're in space above the Earth, and I want you to see that the Earth indeed has a grid of light, a web of light that surrounds the Earth. And when you look more closely, you realize that each point in the web is one of us. Like we are the points of light. All life is part of this web of light, and we're all connected on this web of light. And our job as individuals is to make our little point of light, don't worry about anybody else, what they're doing. Your job is to increase the flow of light, increase the amount of light that you can anchor in your life. Build your practice so that you become, well, again, don't worry what anyone else is doing. You let the light flow within you. You clear space so you can anchor more light so that your little point of light in that web gets brighter. And when all of us do this together, we are not only helping one another, we're not only succeeding individually, we're not only succeeding as a collective, we're actually raising the energetic vibration of the earth itself. We are helping to heal the planet. When each little point of light becomes healed and clear and more flowing, the planet itself is healing and ascending. But we don't stop in the fifth dimension. We're going to keep rising. And I want you to rise to the point where you can now see the top of the light. This is the sixth dimension. You can see the top of the light. It's just a little tiny dot. And you can see that. That's the light of the universe. And in the flow of the universe, I told you the universe is a pump. When it expands out, it starts out as this little microscopic piece of light, and then it explodes and expands into zillions of pieces. That's the fifth dimension, zillions of individual pieces of light. And many of those pieces of light go all the way down into the lowest vibration, into the third dimension. In the fifth dimension, it looks like light. But when one of those pieces of light goes into the third dimension, it's in a lower vibration. So we no longer see the light, but the light is still inside us. That's what we are. We are little pieces of that universal light, all of us. And although it looks like solid matter, we all understand that every atom in our body is nothing more than electrons traveling at the speed of light. We are light. If you could see it, you would see light radiating off of your arms, your shoulders. You'd see a halo if you could see it because there is light flowing through you. And now, as you're clear and allowing this light, this is really healthy for you. This light is flowing through all parts of your body, through all your joints, through your eyes, your brain, your lungs, around your body, and you are all connected. We're all connected in this web of light. But before all of this is manifested, it's just a little dot and boom, it explodes. And the sixth dimension is that spot where you can stand like a perch point or like a bird on a wire. It's this little spot, little flat piece of consciousness. You rise yourself to the sixth dimensional awareness. You could literally look down and watch as the universe explodes from one point of light to zillions. And you can observe how it all goes down into the third dimension. Then you can observe how it draws itself back to a single point of light, rises up to higher dimensions. The universe takes the lessons that it learned in that little bit of time and creates a new version of the universe. That universe flows through you, becomes a little point of light, and then immediately explodes into zillions of pieces. And you literally can stand there with your feet on the sixth dimension, looking down between your feet, and you can see the universe exploding and expanding in light. And the minute it starts exploding, that is now the past. That's already happened. It's already been created. You're standing above time. The sixth dimension is where time stands still. There is no time. Nothing has been created yet. You're not just above time. Time has stopped and stands still. This is where we're building this collective. This is where you can establish your values and your principles and the life that you want to live because circumstances don't exist here. There's no reason to speak. There's no reason to fix anything. There's no reason to be anything different. You're all of it before it's even been created. You're all of it. No reason to fix it, explain it, convince it. It's just the universe pumping out, drawing back in, pumping out again, exploding out, drawing back in. And while you're enjoying this sixth dimensional experience, I want you to imagine that the seventh dimension is a waterfall of living magnetism. The seventh dimension is a waterfall of living magnetism, a much higher, much more powerful energy than light and much, much more powerful than the lower vibrational energy of mind. This is a living pulsation of living magnetism. The seventh dimension is source. If you've ever seen slow motion movies of like a bomb going off, the first thing that'll happen is the pressure in the room, everything gets sucked in for a fraction of a second. It sucks all the pressure out of the room. It it like collapses on itself and then boom, it explodes. This seventh dimension is that drawing in. It is source. It's everything before it has manifested. It's the flow, this pulsing, explosive flow, which is so powerful and so explosive that boom, the whole universe is created from this living magnetic source. And know that this waterfall is geometrically aligned. The universe has a geometric alignment. And this pulsing, living magnetic source also has geometric alignment. So I want you, as you imagine this waterfall falling over your head and over your shoulders, just encompassing you, this waterfall of living magnetism, I want you to remove anything in your body that is not aligned with the geometry of the universe. I want you to allow the full flow of the universe to flow through you without fighting it, resisting it, trying to change it or shape it. Just allow the full pulsation of the universe to flow through you. This is source. We call it the seventh dimension. We call it a seventh dimensional energy of living magnetism, but this is source. And here's the thing. You are source. You're all of it. You're all of it. And then it explodes into little pieces. You're all of those little pieces. And then some of those pieces go down into the third dimension, and they're little magnets inside the third dimension. You are one of those little tiny bits of magnet, but you're also all of them. Your source, all of it before everything's been created. You are the little created piece of it. And also, another secret of the universe, when the universe explodes, only a very fraction of the energy of the universe manifests. The vast majority is like background magnetic radiation. It didn't actually manifest into anything. So what's manifested might only be 1 or 2% of what source is. So the whole universe represents maybe a tiny little percentage of what source could create. So you are both source, all encompassing, everything with no boundaries, all of it, everything that's about to be created, that's you. You are the little contracted piece, and you're also the magnetic background and your magnetic radiation, and you're also all the other little magnetic pieces. You're just not conscious of it. You are the full source. You are all the little bits of the explosion, including the one little bit that has become you, your little piece of it. You're this contracted little magnet, and you're also the ocean of magnetism that surrounds the whole thing. You are this living magnetism. And all of this power is flowing through your very being millions of times a second. You're being recreated, drawn back in, improved a little bit, recreated in a slightly different version of yourself a millionth of a second later. You learned something in a millionth of a second. The universe learns about itself, draws itself back in, and explodes again. So you, in the third dimension, I want you to see all of this power flowing through you and not blocking it, allowing, wanting, encouraging, priming the pump so that the full power of the universe can flow through you. And together as a collective on the sixth dimension, we're creating a blueprint so that all of this source energy will flow right through our blueprint. So that every atom, every molecule, everything that's created below this is tainted, colored, tinged with our blueprint. So the collective is set up in the sixth dimension so that the power of source has no choice but to go right through our blueprint. How is it going to manifest? I don't know. That's above my pay grade. All we can do is hold the idea of the collective and recognize that source is flowing right through us and right through the collective. It has no choice because we're placing our image, our blueprint in the sixth dimension. And this is how collectively we can start to harness and design, use this higher power, this higher magnetic power of source to start to make patterns and design things that will, by definition, manifest however they will, whenever they will, a new energy in the third dimension. This is how the collective is creating new energies that didn't exist, that now exist in the third dimension, that will reach people or affect people however it does. That's beyond our ability to control it or give it guidelines or an agenda. We just set up the picture and this pulsation of source flows right through us. So imagine all of us in the collective like little bar magnets with our arms, like we're huddled like in a little teepee form, and we're all magnets and we're all focusing on the collective, and source is not only flowing through us, it's flowing through our image, our blueprint of the collective. And each one of us has the job to clear our own space so that we can be, I can be, you can be, all of us together can be clear channels for this living magnetism to flow through. Now I'm going to share with you what I've been experiencing over the last couple of days. I want you to, first of all, when you do this, I want you to be sitting back in your chair. It's really important that you be completely relaxed and your arms and legs relaxed, no movement whatsoever, except your diaphragm. I want you to be completely relaxed. And the reason I want you to be completely relaxed is I want you to be in a state where nothing is happening to you, which means you don't have to respond to anything. It's not hot, it's not cold, you're not hungry, you're not tired, you're just nothing's happening. So there's no need for you to do anything. There's no need for you to change anything or respond to anything. So I want you to sit back and I want you to imagine, I don't know if you remember the old Star Treks when they would beam somebody up, they would be like a column of light inside their body. I want you to imagine this column of living magnetic energy, this column of source. And I want you to realize that you are this source. I want you to draw your consciousness inward with no distractions on the outside so you can focus and stay here on the inside. I want you to draw your consciousness into this column of living magnetism. Your body, your central channel, is a column of living magnetism. I want you to draw your consciousness into this higher state of source and flow. And I want you to imagine, you even reach out with your hands, that everything else that you're seeing is a projection. Everything that you're experiencing is a projection. You, this consciousness that you are, this magnetic source, this magnetic beam of living magnetism that's inside you, that's you. And the world is kind of going by you, the world is moving, you're standing still. And everything around you is a projection. But here's the problem. It's not really a projection. You could be anything. You could project anything, but you're projecting one thing. You're projecting that three-dimensional life. And you've been projecting it for so long, the same picture over and over and over again, a million times a second for decades. So it's pretty ingrained in your belief system that you are that identity. The truth is, there's a whole screen. You could have been anyone. You could be anyone. You can change that identity to anything that you want, but you don't because that's what you think you have to be. That identity is subconscious. You don't know that you're holding up that identity. You don't know that you're spending all your energy and effort and inner psychic energy to hold yourself in place in that identity. And it's not your fault. This is part of living in the third dimension. This is the challenge. You have an identity. You have a family. You have to eat. You have to shop, cook, clean. You have to exist in this world. And in order to exist in this world, you have to have an identity. But you've been pushing this same identity over and over again, and you're simply living it on autopilot. I now want you to realize that you're sitting in this chair, you've got this column of light, you're this consciousness, but I also want you to see at the same time that you're directing all of this, you're wasting all of it, if you will, on that projection of your own identity. And that identity is your will. Your willpower is what holds that identity together. It's what holds your whole life together. Your willpower. You're constantly using willpower to hold everything together, and all of this is happening subconsciously. But I want you now, if you can, to live both lives at the same time. I want you to be the person in the chair with the light flowing through you, the magnetic source of light, flowing energy, power, highest consciousness, God consciousness, and also realize that your consciousness is in that projection as well. And most people, when they look at that and they think this is like, whoa, I'm probably putting a little too much intensity into that. I can pull back a little bit. You don't have to be so intense. You don't have to be so head-centered. You don't have to have all of that emotion and all of that energy and will into that projection. Most people don't even like their life, and yet they project all their willpower into it subconsciously because they're not aware of it. What I want you to do is be both. Be the column of light and be the consciousness that's inside that light, and realize that just relax yourself, just pull yourself back and take all the energy out of that and sit in your chair and say, that's now optional. I'm no longer unconsciously on autopilot, going to always put everything, every last thing that has to be in that life. I can now put anything I want on this screen. That was one choice. I didn't really have a choice because I was born into that role. I was born into that identity. I just figured that's what everybody does. That's what everyone else around me did. So I just became that person. I just kept trying to figure out how to move forward as that identity. I want you to pull all the consciousness out of that. And again, just like we did in the fourth dimension, I want you to see that life as really not automatic anymore. You can now start to make choices at what energy you want to put in there and what energy you want to pull back. And right now, I want you to pull all your energy back. And I want to put all your consciousness back into your core. And I want you to imagine that the screen goes around and there's a whole nother identity over here on the other side. A whole other identity that you can put your willpower into. And the more you put your willpower into that identity, the stronger that identity becomes, and the less intense your original identity becomes. You can change your identity. Now, you still have the same family, you still live in the same house, everything externally is the same, but you're no longer living that life subconsciously. You've made a conscious decision to pull a lot of the intensity out of that, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to take all the good things about that life that you have, this identity that you have, take all those good things, put them in a suitcase, and let's bring that suitcase over, and now let's create an entirely new identity, an intentional identity. And you can be both at the same time. You can be the source energy and you can be that energy. But this identity that you want to be is now a better version of yourself, a healthier identity, a more regulated and calm identity, a more disciplined identity, something that's anchored. And what's going to help you latch onto that identity is the collective values of kindness and generosity and patience and health and all the positive things that we can put into ourselves. We're not just, here's the thing, you can take all these positive things and throw it into your life, which is already out of balance, and it'll have some effect. It'll make you feel better. But I want you to pull out of that life. And I want you to surrender to a higher identity, an identity that is aligned with universal principles, an identity that's aligned with the geometric structure of the universe, an identity that's aligned with the long-term wavelength of the universe. This is what the collective is going to allow you to do, to anchor yourself in the collective. And you think that, oh my God, if I drop my identity and try to become someone else, my identity will go away. The world will fall apart. I'm just going to fall into the void. I'm going to tell you this from my heart. When you withdraw that identity and you throw yourself into a new identity, the universe is going to catch you. You're not going to go anywhere. All the things you thought were important there, they're still important, but you're now approaching them with a new identity, a new mindset, a new set of values and principles, a new understanding that now when I put my energy into this identity, it's aligned because all the energy I'm putting into my old identity is out of alignment. And I have to remind myself to be aligned. I don't want to do that anymore. Pull out of that identity and choose a new identity. Same people, same family, same job, everything's the same externally, and it'll be just fine. Trust me. In fact, it'll be much better. And throw yourself into the identity. And here's the thing. When you make these changes in your life, when new people come here and they say, oh my God, this is amazing, and they get all into it and they start journaling, they start reading, they start going to the live events, all of that energy and action and the new patterns that they're creating, make their lives better. It goes to healing and improving their lives. But there's another 50% of the energy, and that's the magnetic energy. The collective captures that magnetic energy. So when you do something good, it creates a physical outcome and it creates a magnetic energy. The collective is here to harness our magnetic energy. So the more you plug into the collective, the more action you take, the more active you are, the more work over a long period of time that you're doing, of course it's going to benefit your life. But it also energizes the collective. This is the magnetic energy of source. So everything you do has an outer result and an invisible result or a magnetic result. We in the collective capture this. So the harder you work to plug into the collective, the more you do, the more energy the collective is capturing and holding. So we could have 1 million members who don't do anything. There's no magnetic energy. There's no outer change happening. There's no magnetic energy. But just a few members who are into it and checking in every day and going to the live event, that actual energy, yes, improves your life. That's why you're doing it. But it also gives us collective energy. And the collective is like a circle in the seventh dimension that's gathering all of this magnetic energy. So when you leave the circle, when you leave the collective and go live your life, that magnetic energy is still there. The spaces that we're holding, this Tuesday night Ascension workshop, our Friday workshop, all of the workshops, all the live events, the chat, all of that is holding space in this higher dimensional energy. And everything that you do to make yourself a better person creates a physical result, like you become a better person over time, but it also creates the wasted energy is that magnetic energy. It's not wasted anymore. Now we're capturing your effort. Your effort, literally, we're capturing the energy of your effort. So the more you plug in, the more active you are, the more you speak up, the more you comment, like, repo, whatever, the more you do to improve yourself in alignment with the work we do in the collective, the more energy the collective captures. The more work you do, the better you become. That's the physical manifestation, but the energy is no longer wasted. It's now being captured by the collective. And so I want you to sit in this inner radiance that you have, and I want you to see like less of what you've been, like less intensity there, less importance, less intensity, and redefine your identity, redefine your values from the inside, not change your hair or your glass. I'm not talking about anything external. Redefine your values, your principles, your self-reliance, the kind of person you want to be, showing up for your kids. Redefine who you are and latch onto it in this higher dimension and just keep doing that work. So slowly you become, it doesn't have to be slow, you can start to let go of the old ways of thinking and adopt these new, higher, more aligned, healthier, happier, more abundant ways of thinking. And I want you to see that you're both. You're all of it, sitting here in the chair with this magnetic light energy flowing through you, and you're also that identity. You're both. Your consciousness is in both places, but as you refine yourself to become more of the person you want to be, you become more aligned, and slowly your life gets closer and closer and closer to alignment with what you really want, is this flow of light and energy through your body. You don't want your life to constantly take you on a left turn, out of balance, out of alignment. You want to design a life that's in alignment so that you become closer and closer and closer all the time to this beautiful being of light that's sitting in the chair. And then as you're active, I want you to realize you're also that being of light, but you're contracting yourself to just that experience. But that's okay because we have to do that. That's the way we have to live in this world. We have to eat, we have to find food, we have to go to the bathroom, we got to, hydrate ourselves. We have to be active. We have to love each other, we have to care for our kids. We have a lot of work to do. But that work should be in alignment with who you really are. So now there's no difference between the outer life that you're living and the inner alignment that you're cultivating. Because now there's this inner alignment and then there's life that's misaligned. So we want to take all the good things from that life, put it in the suitcase and bring it over here and take all those good things and add more good things so that our life slowly over time can become more aligned. And for some of you, you can do this right away. For other people, it's hard to let go of the density and the the things you've been working on and that you've always thought were important. It's hard to let go, and that's certainly the case. But it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy. It can just be a switch in consciousness to now I want to be this person. And I feel like what I've discovered is just sitting in this light and this energy, even for a few seconds, I realize I don't have to be that way. I can be any which way I want. And I want to be more aligned. I want to be more regulated. I want to be more balanced. I want to be more in control. I want to be working on things that are really important to me. Not looking around what everyone else is doing, but what do I want to be? What do I want to do? How do I want to go in this world? What kind of a person do I want to be? And I can become more, so my actions become more aligned with this beautiful source energy. And so I'm using this source energy to create a more aligned life. And eventually there's no difference. I can draw inward, and when I project outward, I'm still this source energy and I'm still aligned. How did that resonate? Did any, that's what I wanted to share, and I'm gonna pause there. Um, yeah, I was just looking at your comment from before we started. Take the lid off. We just took the lid off right there. We're not, there's no limits to what we're talking about. I know it feels blissful, but this really was not only intended to feel blissful, but to give you a clear picture that you're not just the person you're being. That's just a limited version. You're also this unlimited version. And I want you to start to bring the limit. I want you to change that. Get rid of all the negativity, get rid of all the negative sources of energy, and live an aligned life that's aligned with. And the other thing, too, is as you go through the day, keep the deep breathing up. Make sure that you're imagining. When I go to sleep, as I breathe in, I imagine I'm pulling energy from underneath my feet all the way through the crown of my head, and I'm just allowing myself to be a pump of this energy. And I just, before I go to sleep, just pump this imaginary energy. And every time you do that, every time you do anything, you're activating unseen forces. And my goal is to allow this energy, to allow me to be a much clearer vessel. And who knows what the outcome's going to be? That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the breathing process and the flowing process and making myself a stronger and stronger pump for this energy. And however it's going to manifest is fine with me. And it's always better. It's always healthier and happier and more expansive. What aligned in that? Great. Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm really happy. And I did press record, so I'm happy because that's not always the case. I'm really happy that I was able to get this recorded. I wish I had better video editing skills, but that's a lot. I'm really happy I got this recorded. This was a big thing for me to realize that I was in my consciousness could be in two places at once. I could be source, and I could recognize that I'm also that guy running on autopilot. I'm both. And I want to build a life where I'm running on autopilot in alignment. That was a breakthrough for you, John. I'm really happy. Anyone get any deeper inspiration, any impact? Did anything click or flip or resonate for anyone? Yeah, it's hard. I appreciate the feedback, John, because going through it in my own mind and then thinking about how I'm going to share it and then sharing it, it's not possible for me to know how other people are perceiving it or what they're experiencing. Also, everyone else is at a different level, so then by definition, we're not all experiencing this stuff the same way. But I did want to share it. So I have some homework for you tonight. I want you just do an experiment for the next 3 days. Tonight, again, before you go to sleep, tomorrow, 2 times, the next day, 2 times, and then the Thursday. So tonight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So by the end of the day, kind of when we meet for our next meditation session on Friday, I want you to have done this meditation several times. I want you to draw yourself in and recognize that you're all of it and recognize that you haven't even known this yet. This is just kind of like a new thing for you. And my God, look at all the time I've been wasting running in this silly little contracted life, trying to think, do what I think I'm supposed to do when Nova ever explained to me, I don't have to be that identity. I can choose something better, a better version of myself. Do this meditation for 3 days, tonight and then again for 3 days, and let me know how the energy. And also, as you're doing this, I want you to also be a pump. Feel yourself, which is truly what you are. Allow these energies, these higher energies, to flow through your being without obstruction. And just learn how to pump it and free yourself and allow these energies. Don't expect anything to happen. Don't think about what's going to happen. Just see what happens as these energies start to flow through you more clearly. I would also say, um, to all of you who are here, okay? So, first of all, thank you for holding this space. Without you, the space wouldn't be here. I really, it means everything that you're here and you're holding this space and you're part of it. Um, so I want to thank you for that. But I also want to share with you that everyone here who's just experienced this, you could study Vedic teachings, Tibetan Buddhist teachings. You could do this for 30, 40 years of your life. You will not get to that experience. I mean, I could talk to 10,000 Buddhists and not one. I'm sure there are some. Maybe if you study true Tibetan Buddhism for 50 years, maybe there are things that they teach you that go much, much higher than this. But for the average off the street person, in a matter of a few weeks and a few months, to be able to experience that level of clarity, of consciousness, puts us, our little group, and the people here in the very, very top of people who have understood reality. And I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to say that other people were wrong, but there's a lot of Enlightenment literature that is on the wrong track, that's very focused on three-dimensional stuff. There's some beautiful literature. This is going to pull you up. And just know that when I want to say one more thing. When we talk about ascension, what we just did was an ascension exercise, a meditation to flow the energy through you, rise your consciousness to the point where you're not trapped. You now have a choice. You can make all different choices and project whatever you want onto the canvas of life. But you are the flow. You are the energy. You don't live in the universe. You are the universe. You don't live on the earth. You're energetically part of the earth. You're part of the universe. You're here. And there is so much more for us to expand. So when I talk about ascension, what I'm talking about is the experience that I'm starting to experience. It's an elevating feeling, not physically my feet off the ground, but elevated to the point where this just doesn't seem as important as it did the other day or even a few weeks ago. It's just, okay, that's happening, but that's not me. I'm here. And this is only the first day. So whatever we've experienced today, this is just a plateau from which we will continue to rise in consciousness and experience and understanding. So when we say ascension, you're still part of the third dimension. There just now are other energies and forces and powers that are more like present in you. You just feel yourself at a higher level and you're no longer really dependent on what's going on down there. And yes, you might still be dependent and those things still draw you down, but slowly but surely you'll start to see what I'm talking about. Your feet don't come off the ground, but you realize that everyone else is talking about this stuff and we're talking about this stuff. So that's the ascension process. And I'll also be open to the fact that we are in a time when this ascension knowledge, these codes, these ascension codes are available to us. So I'll accept that 6 years ago I never would have been able to know this, but now we do. whether it's through my own efforts or through teaching or through all the things that have happened or because the aliens opened up higher codes. I don't know why, but we now have this ascension knowledge, and I'm really, really glad we got this on tape because now we have it. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And again, thank you for holding the space. I don't want you to not understand how important that is. Like you taking the time to be here is what allows this space to continue for another week, another month, another year. And this space will be here for the next group of people only because we are holding it. Once we stop holding it, these other people don't have then there's no pathway anymore for them. They'll have to figure it out themselves. So it's really vital. It's really important and really, I want to recognize how much I appreciate you for being here and holding the space, all of you. And I thank you for that. And with that, I'll let you go. But when we leave, when we X out of this meeting, it's like an infinity pool. Don't go back on the roller coaster. Maintain this feeling of balance and higher consciousness for the rest of the night. Just don't get out of this state just because you opened your eyes and now you're leaving the room or wherever you're in. Take this state of consciousness with you throughout the day, throughout the rest of your night. Just try. Try to take this state of consciousness, and your homework is to do this type of meditation for the next 3 days and just see what happens. See how the energy's flowing, see what you're understanding, see what happens to your understanding and your experiences. So maintain this state for the rest of the day, and I will see all of you again on Friday. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Every single one of you. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you on the Circle platform, and I'll definitely see you on Friday again. Thanks, everybody.